10 years ago, back in 2014, the Grammy of the Best Rap Album of the Year. However, I think back in 2014, Macklemore deserved it. And in this video, I'm going to convince you why. Now let's talk about what was these album all about. This album had Mac's views on global issues. In other words, he took a wider approach. On the other hand, Good Kid, M.A.A.d was an album which is really close to Kendrick because it exclusively talked about his hometown and his childhood. In other words, he took a very enclosed or narrow approach in this album, or in his words, it was for the culture. Now let's talk about the problems that were discussed in this album. The problems Mac talked about was about homophobia, racism, consumerism, and misogyny all over the world, and this linked with people all over the world. On the other hand, Kendrick talked about the problems, the struggle he faced as a kid growing up, the violence he saw as a kid growing up, communal violence, and of course the crack epidemic. It is really a cancer to black community, and he spoke about them so truly that it becomes a must-listen album. What was different or unique in these albums? In my words, what were the innovations? The Heist was really unique in this one. The Heist had a club of genres. It mixed rap with country, it mixed rap with folk, it mixed rap with R&B, it mixed rap with pop. And the way Mac flowed in all of these production beats, it was flawless. This album deserved to win a Grammy because of this. Well, on the other hand, Good Kid, M.A.A.d had a huge impact on it. Huge impact. Dr. Dre was producing and Dr. Dre was featured in that album. It becomes a huge thing. And that was not all. The songs in that album had switches. Like, you wouldn't imagine that you're listening to the same song and you're in two different moods. It becomes such a jolly experience. And most importantly, the auto-tune. Kendrick did use auto-tune, and I'm really against auto-tune. But in this album, Kendrick used auto-tune and enhance the production, the quality of album, not like m.A.A.d who uses his voice just to ear rape me. Let's talk about the significance of these both albums. Mac is really well known for producing catchy songs, and this album had a lot of catchy songs. They were unique. On the other side, Good Kid, M.A.A.d did not have any catchy songs, and I'm being very honest. The songs are useless if you don't understand the meaning behind them. But if you understand the meaning behind the song, the impact of the song gets so heavy that you forget songs being catchy. You just want to enjoy the song, enjoy the mood that the song produces or brings in you. And yes, impact of those songs are any day greater than any song in the Heist. Mac spoke about homophobia and consumerism in hip-hop industry. He talked about modern era problems like same-sex marriage, politics, race, person's inability to exercise his right, his taste, and his massive statements were homophobia and misogyny. And Mac's this dig actually resonated with pop and R&B industry and their fans, as Kendrick Lamar said. However, due to vast following of this genre, the widespread approach really worked. And couple that with the mixed genre songs that are in this album. It is supposed to go viral, it's supposed to resonate, it's supposed to sync with everybody, with the problems and the music that was made in this album. On the other hand, if you ask me to define Kendrick's album, Good Kid, M.A.A.d, I would be like, it was real world with real problems. He kept it very real. He kept it very raw. The album was not written from a privileged man's windows. It was written from the person who belonged from the projects, who have seen the struggles, who have seen the violence, who has been peer pressurized to commit a violence. That guy has written this song. All I could say, if you haven't watched a movie in a while, listen to this album, you will feel that you are the main character of that movie. This album gives you the first-person view of a movie. Fuck 3D, fuck IMAX. Kendrick spoke about the true conditions of the projects. How a young, bright-minded person, a teenager, a young man, is peer pressurized to commit a crime, then visit the can in a very early age. And everybody knows life does not get easier once you get out of the can. Ugly-minded people pushing the bright-minded, intelligent, possibly the revolutionary, the next Obama, to do something evil and hurt the society. This is how the world is in the projects. This is just a fragment of the picture that Kendrick showed in the album, and we know there is a lot to speak about that album that makes this album a better album than The Heist. Speaking of betterness, let's talk about popularity and quality. No doubt the Heist is the most popular album. Undoubtedly, the Heist has the great hooks, great songs, great messages, great impact, and yes, most engaging videos ever. I was mesmerized when I was listening to this album for the first time. So no doubt this album is popular. Well, speaking about quality, Kendrick's album is on the other level. Frankly speaking, this album does not have great hooks that hooks the audience, but it has quality music. The experience listening to this album gives you a driver's seat. You're driving this whole album. As a matter of fact, you are watching the whole story with your very eyes in front of you. This is the quality this album gives. And though the album gets thrilling, though the album gets graphic, it is amazing. So in the department of quality, Kendrick's album won. Now this is something really interesting and I would like to talk about. The after Grammy effect. Mac did won the Grammy. It was 10 years ago. His album was better than Kendrick as per the Grammys. Victory of Mac's album, victory of Mac actually questioned Grammy's credibility. And I see none of the above were considered while taking the decision for making The Heist the best hip-hop album. But this is what happened and I don't think this is the talking matter and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about what happened after Grammy. Mac's career declined severely. Hip-hop fans discredited every music that came out of Mac after this Grammy incident. In other words, Kendrick fans and hip-hop fans took a shot at Mac's leg and his career was crippling after that. And it is still crippling. So 10 years later, we both know which album you're gonna pick if I ask you to choose one. However, I'm going to conclude my video with these two statements. In short run, ideas and protest are very crucial as it relates to the present moment. And this is what we exactly heard in the album The Heist. But in the longer run, the same ideas and protest become history and just get skipped. Yet, like the album Good Kid, Mad City, an engaging story is always heard, watched, told, and enjoyed and also lives forever.